Yeah. Wait, should we record this? Because I saw this on my feed and I was going to leave a comment and I saw your comment on it. And then I
Yeah.
didn't even end up leaving my comment.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Yes. Okay.
Okay. When you start your business, no one ever prepares you for what's in store. So finding someone else who just gets it is sometimes the thing that can keep you pushing towards those big vision board business goals.
We're turning our Zoom coffee chats into a weekly, unfiltered podcast for online business owners. There were so many good ones, we always wanted to record them and repurpose them for content anyways. And that's on being a social media manager.
I'm Jessica Sheehy.
And I'm Madeline Daigan. And this is
hashtag
managed. I think it's perfect.
I like it. I like it.
So I finally came up with my word of the year, which is consistent. Consistent in working out, consistent in my habits, and drumroll, consistency on social media. But mainly with the content creator era of me. And I think, I've been talking about that for a while now here on the podcast, but I have not done anything on social media. And last night I was journaling and reflecting and realized like that's okay. Like I needed this time and I've needed this time. And I think if I'm being honest with myself, the last 2 years truly to be re-inspired. And I feel like that sounds so intense because yes, I'm posting to social media, for the podcast, for clients. And I've sprinkled in some content for personal content and even the Buzzing Blonde, but I think I'm ready. I'm ready and I'm excited to start sharing and posting again solely for me. Again, the consistency for me.
Yeah. Yeah. Ooh, I feel like that for me, like statement is so good. I mean, I was kind of like thinking back on like previous like words of the year and every year like and obviously we're, like not to age us, but we're getting older. So like it's going to be really funny like in a few years when we think about like what that word will be in like 3 years, 5 years from now, like it's going to be so different. But like past me, like younger me would be like, okay, not that I ever chose this word by any means, but it would be like hustle, work harder, do more. Like it was always that like more mentality, which I think in reality is like, okay, you're wanting more for you, but it's because you're like influenced by so many other people and like what they're doing. And I think it's something that I've known for a long time because I think when I first started Social Savvy, I worked for like a lot of like big names in like the business and marketing and social media space just as their like social media manager. And I don't know, I got to like see behind the curtains of those businesses. It's almost like I saw Wicked like a week or so ago, and it's like okay, like obviously like Oz behind the curtain is not what it's not what like the people of Oz see, and so I just think it's so funny that I don't know, we're always like trying to do more and get more where I feel like collectively, like even in 2024, I feel like you and I have kind of like realized like all the things that we have done. And like it is like granted, like are there more things that like we could have done? Like absolutely. Like we just had our planning call and we were like, obviously like as a business we did great. We did better than 2023 and I feel like that's all I could ever ask for is that we do better than the year before. Now to what percentage that is, like that's going to change. Like from 2020 to 2021 and 2021 to 2022 those numbers were like astronomical because like again the world was so different. But anyway, I love that word consistent. I love that you're bringing it like beyond like business and like your like professional career into like the personal aspects of life, which I feel like is sometimes forgotten in like a word of the year.
Yes. And I feel like too, where the word consistent is my theme That sounds so, it's my theme for my content as well, because consistent, like you were saying, it just means different thing, and consistent doesn't, maybe it's not like every single day, but it's like that other little goal that I'm setting for myself where it's like showing up on stories every day,
Mhm,
posting, even once a week, where
mhm,
I'm wanting to post more than that, but giving myself that grace to ease into it. And I have some
mhm,
ideas for January, so I'm excited for the last 2 weeks of the year,
mhm.
really, to like be creative and also relax.
Yeah, yeah.
But have you picked out your word yet?
I have. So you inspired me to pick a word, and I kind of joked around like over the past couple of weeks with the team, like what my words of 2025 will be. But none of them just really made sense, like at all, because it didn't work. So I'm going with healing for 2025. Um, we are also like recording this on my 29th birthday. So I feel like as I creep closer to my 30th year, like for me, healing makes so much sense. 2024 was a really hard, really crazy year. And I feel like one thing as I've like gotten older is I've learned to like I feel like I've grown a lot in 2024, like with the help of like friends, family, also like therapy. Can't like knock that down. But um but I've learned so much, and so as I like mature, I've like realized like okay, I am healing a lot of things. I am healing my inner child. Like that's my first and foremost thing
Yes.
that again, that book is I can't remember. It's in like my bedside table, but I can't remember who wrote it, but it's so simple. I really recommend everyone should read it no matter how old you are. Like if you're early 20s, almost 30 like Maddie and I, or maybe like even older, like I recommend it to everyone. I literally told like my in-laws and like my dad, I'm like, you guys should read it. Like I think it's such a good thing for people to do. But I
Wait,
also
what book?
I think it's literally called, let me look it up as well because I know it's in my like Amazon history. I think it's called How to Heal Your Inner Child. I think
Oh,
it's
okay.
let me see. Of course, Amazon's like no results found. Um, okay, yes, yeah. How to Heal Your Inner Child is the book. And
Okay.
who is the author? For some reason, Amazon is not working. Okay, TBD. And
Yeah.
sorry, so sorry, but I'm gonna have to send it to Maddie to link it in the newsletter. I'm really not trying to Easter egg you guys to sign up for that if you have it. But oh, this is like so weird. I wonder if like the one I bought is like no longer for sale. Or
Don't
like
say
why?
that.
I don't know. That's so bizarre. So,
I will say though, I love that your word is healing for 2025, because I think that was my word for last year. Again, when I turned 29, like that. So I
mhm,
think it's funny that
yeah, and
it's
I didn't even know that. So,
no,
yeah.
same page, same brain. We've said it how
Mhm.
many times, but we you
Yes.
can't make this stuff up.
No.
But and even so, like I told you, I was journaling last night, and part of my I might share. I honestly might share
Mhm.
some of my journal prompt, because I don't
Mhm.
know about you, if you journal often. Like it's
Yeah.
journaling is a habit I picked up in 2020,
Mhm.
and haven't looked back since. And there's times where I journal every morning. Sometimes it's once a week.
Mhm.
I definitely noticed like a change in my like
Yeah.
mood when I skip it. But
Yeah.
last night I don't know, I was just reflecting, and I think one of the sentences I said, where I was like, it was like an epiphany where I was like, oh wow, I've like actually healed some of that stuff this year.
Mhm.
And I think if you are listening to this, and I don't think we acknowledge when we've healed as much as we should, maybe. Like we don't give ourselves enough credit for healing and growing.
Mhm.
Or at least I'm speaking for myself, where I was really proud of myself of having that realization. And
Mhm.
also where I'm like, oh, my therapist would also be super proud.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I agree, I agree, and actually, I think you're, like, reminding me because I think it really goes hand in hand with, like, journaling is something I don't do consistently at all, but I do know, it's one of those things you say it out loud and you're like, duh, can I just remember this 24/7?" But when I do journal often, like, I feel like I can be very, like, clear on, like, what I really wanna, like, call in or work through, like, if it's something that's kind of big. And so I think I should really, like, get into a better habit of doing that because I also think for me, healing in the sense of too as like as like a business owner, as like a manager of our team,
Mhm.
also like as a marketer. I don't know, I've been feeling lately like, I know we've talked about imposter syndrome so much and I know we've both shared like our own little like glimpses of it, but lately I've just felt like maybe it's how, I don't know, I like we work with like different clients and like they're in different industries. But lately I just like second guess myself on so many things. And so it's almost like I need to heal like my inner marketer. Like I
Yeah.
don't know, maybe that's like my book title. Like I'm not a therapist or
No, but
psychiatrist.
okay, why are we actually on the same page, same brain length every time? Because in this journal, I don't have my journal next to me, but I was saying how I was talking about how I've been used and abused as a marketer. I've also used and abused as a marketer. I think, and like,
Mhm.
if I were to really unpack that,
Yeah.
clearly it was because I was so tired of getting used and abused that then I like took advantage of people and shouldn't have, where it's just
Yeah.
like live and learn. But marketers, like we really are used and abused. And I think for both you and I don't want to speak for you, but I'm speaking for myself, but just my 30s, I'm realizing is like I'm done being walked over by clients, like where I'm just like, absolutely not. Like I know what I am doing, but it
Mhm.
is hard because I still like in the back of my mind, I like relive those scenarios of my past, which
Mhm.
is also like we could unpack that more like, but
Yeah. Yeah.
so no, I love that.
Yeah. 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 Oh, okay. That's good. Yeah. I think we've nailed our words of 2025. So check that off the list. If we are list checker offers. That's not what we say, but anyway.
Yes. Okay, I had one other weekend thought and then we can get into our reports, but again, this was a weekend thought. So if you know, you know. And I think Jessica and I should get matching tattoos. And I put that, I don't know exactly what, but the one idea that came to my mind was a hashtag,
Mhm.
obviously.
Mhm. I love
But I'm
it.
like, people would be like, what?
I love that idea. Like, why not? Why not? Like, I think honestly, we could probably like if we both sat down and like we were like, okay, let's like design what
Oh,
this would
yeah.
look like. It would probably be so similar. So I think that would be really funny too, since
That
we
will be our viral moment. That will be our
yes,
viral moment.
yes, since we are always like we say, same page, same brain. So
Yes.
should we
Okay.
dive into our weekly reports?
Yes. Okay, so I'll start. I'm still reading in the flow. You guys will not like once I am done with this book, get ready. Strap on. I don't strap on. That's wait, Harmony, cut that.
I
Cut
was
that, cut that, cut that.
I was thinking, oh, that sound like prepare to be sick of me. Like, that one? Like, that's always what I
Yes.
think when I like
Yes.
have like a
Okay.
good idea. Yeah.
Rewind. So yeah, prepare to be sick of me because I'm going to be talking about this. This book has given me so many ideas for a blog post and how to sync our cycle, how to sync your cycle with your social media business. And I think it's going to be a game changer. And I really
Mhm.
do. I would love for all our listeners, like if you are a woman and
Mhm.
bleed. And even if you don't bleed, because again, it talks about
Mhm.
menopause and other things, but
Mhm.
it's good. It's
Yeah.
good.
Ooh,
And
okay. I'm excited. I'm excited for this like master class that you're gonna lead us in.
yes.
I'm just making you like do a master
Yeah,
class.
oh, I will be I sign me up, sign me up. And then I'm eating this Mediterranean soup because as we're recording this, I'm in my luteal phase. And
Mhm,
like, so beans, like chickpeas, turkey, spinach is good for you. Like, so seriously,
mhm.
the soup has everything that
Yeah.
the luteal phase wants you to eat. And then I'm playing 10 times is better than 2 times because obviously I was influenced by
Mhm.
Jessica. I will say listening to it, I do like I've been listening to it when I walk, and I'm somebody who I like to underline and highlight books, which is
Mhm.
again one of the reasons why I'm like I feel like you can do that in the in
Yeah.
your Kindle,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
anyways, I love it. This book, I'm just like I'm kind of glad that I know you haven't finished it yet, but it feels like a power move that we're both like reading this book or like
Mhm.
listening to it.
Yep. Yeah.
And then I'm obsessing over this one. You're going to laugh. I don't know how I came across this, but I came across people who live in the UK. So the Brits, you know, I love the Brits. And if there's any Brits listening to this, please give me all this content. But they're doing American hauls and they literally will do like Target hauls. And I remind you that they're like this, oh, like things that I'm like, oh, is that like
Mhm.
a big deal? One that all of them are obsessed with. And I knew this because when I was in high school, we had German exchange students and I became really close with one of the girls, and she was obsessed with Crest whitening strips and Crest
Mhm.
toothpaste because it's illegal. It's literally
Oh my
illegal
gosh.
because let's be real, like
Yeah.
the UK, they're ahead of us in like the
Exactly. Yeah.
like in
Ingredient.
what's like
Yeah.
the bad. It's bad, but they all are like, you know, I had to get them because they
Mhm.
work, and I was just cracking up. So
That's so cool.
American Halls, I'm obsessed with.
Okay, I need to binge those. I think TikTok is listening. They're curating my feed.
Yes. No, they're funny. And then I'm recommending Belly Welly,
Mhm.
which shout out to Amanda for influencing me on buying this because she's talked about it, but I
Mhm.
really like it. I really do. And it's like
Yeah.
fiber.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
don't know. Good for the gut health.
They have awesome marketing too, by the
They
way.
do. They
They're
do.
always I don't think I've ever like oh, sorry, I've never pulled them out like on my feed, but I've just seen so much of their marketing on TikTok.
Yes, yes. And then treating myself, okay, I for sure splurged. I was low key kind of scared my husband was going to murder me, but I also was about to murder him. So I treated us to a massage membership. And
Mhm.
listen to this though. So it's 2 massages a month for $180.
Oh, I think that's actually like a really good deal though. Like, yeah,
That's what I'm saying.
yeah.
And so originally they were like, we don't. So how it happened, sorry, this will be a quick little story, but all weekend, and he does this often, he was just complaining about his back hurting. And I'm the wife who I'm like, do yoga with me, go to deep stretch. Like,
Mhm. Yeah.
but no, he's just like, oh, my back. And so I was just done because I'll give him massages, but I'm like, I'm not a professional
Right.
here.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And so, but I never get a massage in return. So I'm like, you know what? I
Mhm.
deserve one too.
Yes. Yes, it goes both ways. Yeah.
So that, and to me, I was like, that's going to be our, because normally we don't do Christmas presents, but I was like,
Mhm.
this is a new, for New Year and health. We'll categorize it under our health and wellness.
Yeah, and I think this is, like, one of those things, like, yes, is, like, a massage or anything of this caliber, like, a splurge? Absolutely, but it's something that you guys are gonna, like, you benefit from. So,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah,
So that is my weekly report.
yeah. Well, okay, let me dive into my weekly report. So, I have to start off my report with a little bit of honesty because I am not reading anything at all. So, I have nothing to report for what I'm reading. My Kindle is currently packed away while we're moving. But there are plenty of things that I think I can dive into reading once we get situated. For eating, I just realized too as I was linking this in, one of my favorite um food bloggers, content creators is Half Baked Harvest.
Love.
And any recipe I'm going to love. Maybe I'll like adjust it just a little bit. Um, but I feel like since it's like Christmas and holiday season, I'm like, okay, major sweet tooth. Like I need something super sweet. So I like this recipe. It's healthy-ish. So anything healthy-ish is good in my book in terms of, treating yourself. For playing, we just finished The Madness on
Ooh.
Netflix. I think it was one of the like top one of the top 10 like shows that popped up like
Mm-hmm.
in that queue. I can't remember specifically what number it was, but it was really good. It was just very like suspenseful, like kind of thriller. I felt like you kind of like could predict some things, but some things you could not predict at all, which was really great. So I thought really good like new series to binge because I feel like I'm just out of like content to watch. Like I didn't share, but I pulled like a note out of Maddie's book and I literally was rewatching and I just finished it on Sunday, Gossip Girl. And I can't believe I didn't even share. I got through like all the seasons and didn't even share. Um, for I'm obsessing over all things Wicked. Like I am here for any Wicked content, collaborations.
Sounds like the amount of
Yes.
trending sounds.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Like, have we ever had that many from one, like, I don't know, one production? I'm obsessed with the soundtrack, and I'm usually not like, like a musical soundtrack. I'm usually not like
Oh, okay.
obsessed with, but no, I'm obsessed. Like, I'm gonna unfortunately probably, well, it's 2024, so it's good. I'm like, maybe that's gonna show up on my rap next year, but no, it's now. For recommending I'm recommending that you email your clients like right now as you're listening to this episode, no matter what day it is. Maybe it's the day we launched on Monday or later in the week, totally fine. You still have time, but let them know that you'll be out of office for either the last week of the year or if you could swing it based off of like your meeting schedule, your deliverables, let them know that you are out of office the last 2 weeks. So this is something that at Social Savvy, like I've done this for a few years now. I feel really lucky that we work with clients who also do this themselves. So it's just a really great time. For me, I do the last 2 weeks. I feel like that time's so necessary. It's in between like the holidays as well. So either do one of two things or do both, like permission to do any of them. Rest, recharge, or plan for 2025 or do a little bit of both. Do a little resting on one day or take a long morning or go do something and then plan in the afternoon. But really spend that time selfishly. Like
Yes.
that's
Oh, such good advice.
yeah, be so selfish in whatever you need, and your body will literally tell you what you need. Like I feel that on the weekends where I'm like I do a little work, I do a little play, and then I'm like, oh, I feel inspired to do a little bit more work. Or I wake up, I'm like, let me like start my like Sunday morning doing all this work, and then I'm like, not feeling it. I'm gonna go do something random. So let your body like feel into whatever you need, and then treating myself to a birthday blowout. So I'm gonna go later today and get a blowout, which I actually haven't gotten one in several weeks. So I'm a little like overdue, and I don't know. You know that post blowout feeling.
Oh,
We've talked about it here before in the podcast. So that's my weekly report.
love it. Okay, let's get into the water cooler.
Join us at the water cooler.
Let's hear a question from one of our listeners and see how we can help. This one, it just,
Hmm.
I feel like it kind of reflects what we were talking about with our word
Yeah,
of the year.
yeah.
So this week, I pulled it from our Facebook group. They say, I'm getting tired of managing socials at the moment. I have clients who approve things and then once it's posted, moan about something. It seems a little trivial, but I'm just a bit over it, to be honest. I'm pregnant, early stages, and just feeling sick and tired all the time. It just feels like managing accounts is draining me. Plus, I work full time. I need the money, so can't outsource or just let clients go. But what suggestions do you have on gradually pivoting my business into what, please? I would really appreciate it.
Oh, yeah, 'tis the season to be burnt out. Like,
Mhm.
put that on our Christmas card for the year. I mean, I really feel for this like really unique situation, but I do unfortunately feel that a lot of us can relate to this in this moment. I mean, 2024 for everyone has been a really interesting year. Like for like no matter where you live, no matter what you do for work, like the world has been really interesting. Let's like,
Mhm.
chalk it up to that. So, I think what would be so important here is two things. One, look at everything that you're doing for your business and like, kind of going to like what we talked about at the start of the call, like journal it all out. What do
Mm.
you love doing? What do you hate doing? I know you're said you're not in a place right now where you can't outsource, and that's totally fine, but give yourself a bank of things to have for when you can outsource and look at what you love and what you don't love and just see if you can see a pattern. Do you see something that you can fix? I think first and foremost, have a conversation with clients. Like, why are things happening after they're posted, but they're approved? Like, what is it that they're moaning and groaning about? Like, a lot of times it's like their expectations of content. So I don't know because I know we don't always like know, the full story here, but like do they not love like the branding of it? Do they not love how it's like performing? I don't know. There could be so many options. I think even more than those two that could pop up. But just knowing that information and having that conversation with them because again, if it's coming down to like the results, okay, are they moaning like 30 minutes after it's posted? I would ignore that message because again, let's give it some time. Okay, before anything is going to catch on. Um, is it about the branding? Well, why was that not caught during that approval process? And also, like, they are the client. Can they give you some help? Or can they give you some guidance on, what needs to be adjusted? So I would really recommend looking at and just auditing everything you're doing. Make a list of what's working, what you love doing, what you don't, so you can make that decision in the future and look at like how can I have a conversation with my client to fix things. Sometimes clients actually like I want to give people benefit of the doubt because I feel like it's 50-50 chance. Sometimes they don't even know that they're doing this, they don't know that they are creating this like internal problem for you. So I don't think it hurts to have that like open and honest conversation. And if it does turn out that they know they're doing this and it's intentional and they have a reason, like find out what that is and just get to like the bottom of it. I think that's one thing that I think is a really good skill that a lot of us have is like problem solving. I mean, we're entrepreneurs, right? Like we're solving a problem like from the start, like either we need money or we want to leave our job or like whatever we're doing. So, like problem solve now to figure out what can happen and yeah, I hope that can shift some things around.
Yes. Okay, I have two things I want to add. One, let's be for real here because this is something I don't think we talk about enough. And that is burnout can last up to 5 years. Like, there's literally been studies done about this. And I personally think I'm just now entering out of my burnout stage, if I'm
Mhm.
being completely honest. And why I'm saying that is just to give yourself grace instead of beating yourself up to be like, oh my gosh, why won't the ideas come? And it goes back to my cycle syncing because there are different phases. And I know that when I do become pregnant, like it's gonna be a whole new game. And
Mhm.
luckily, like I have an amazing team and friends like Jessica who I'll be able to lean on.
Mhm.
But like again, you hear the things with pregnancy, and again, I can't speak, but I've heard from friends who have been pregnant, like pregnancy brain is a thing. So I'm almost wondering too if, again, you can, to the pregnant listeners or the mom listeners out there who are like,
Mhm.
you are so far off, like, let me know, like, just
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
put me back in my place. But my thought is, where maybe this is the time to collaborate, where with your clients, maybe it's one of those things where whatever the industry is that you're working with, are there other social media managers or accounts that you could reach out to and be like, hey, I'm completely at a loss here. Like, I would
Mhm.
love to, like, maybe get on a Zoom call with you, chat about
Mhm.
ideas
Yeah.
or something like that. That's just
Yeah.
lean on your community. I feel like that's
Mhm.
my big, again, not pregnant, haven't been pregnant. So if it's
Mhm.
completely off, like, let me
Yeah.
know.
No, I
But
think it's good. Yeah. No, community can be so, so helpful. Like, and I feel like really like lucky that we've created a community. Like I mean, recently we've gotten some awesome feedback from people who've said that like this has been like the best community that
yeah,
they've found. Like, again, not trying to like shameless plug, but like, I don't know, hearing like setting out to create something and then having other people tell you that it, in return is like what it turned out to be like for them, like a great community. So I guarantee there's so many people in there who will, can either maybe relate more than like Maddie and I can, so they can share like specifics that like got them through that time, or maybe they can give some really great pointers to help manage everything. So also
yeah.
like hats off for like managing full-time role and clients, like that's a lot.
And growing a human,
Yes.
literally growing a
You're
human.
superwoman. Like seriously. So yeah, don't don't forget that.
Hats off to you, mom.
Mhm.
Okay. Now let's get into what's on our feed.
What's on our feed this week? From trending topics to interesting conversations, here's what's been catching our attention lately. Okay.
Okay, wait, I want to start because mine is like
Okay. Yeah, yeah.
mine's very weak. It's not, but I'm like whenever I see Jessica's, I'm like,
Yeah.
why isn't my algorithm giving me these? Like mine just feel like very like Maddie type of content versus like marketing manager content.
Can
And so
I also say that I literally told Maddie like an hour ago that I was like, I have saved nothing in this past week. And actually, when I looked back at what I saved, like everything was like very like random like recipes that I'm like, oh, I
yeah.
want to make this for like,
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Christmas or whatever. And then I was like, oh, I'll get to my thing that's in here, which is not like a small thing. So anyway.
No. Okay, so mine in true Swifty style, I have just been binging all the end of the era tour content and bawling my eyes out because I feel like I've shared this because I think I've told you all this is my biggest flex in life, and that is that I saw Taylor Swift open for Rascal Flatts. So like I've been Swiftie since day one, and just all these trending sounds and just be if you are a Swiftie listening, like you just understand like how this tour, like it was a community. Like it just shows how great a community is. And
Mhm.
I will say one thing though, I need everybody to stop being like reputations coming out. No, ladies and men, she said it will just be. She's just going to drop it. And honestly, I just need people to stop because I keep getting my hopes up and then I get let down. So
Mhm.
it will come when it comes, but let's give the woman some time.
Yeah. Exactly. Exactly. She just got off what, like a 2-year tour? Like, okay. Okay. And then again, I think, oh gosh, that like goes back to like my original thought at the top of this episode. Like, our like society is always like more, more, more. And then
Mhm.
not wishing this by any means on Taylor or like anyone else ever, but you get to that point of more, or you, unfortunately, maybe you get to a breaking point, or you get to a
Mm.
point where you want to, I don't know, take it slow or retire. And then it's like, oh, why? Like, why is that happening? It's like, what do you mean? Like, again, we're not all super women, supermen at
No.
every day of our lives.
Also, what is it like being superior to everybody and sharing like the same week of birth with Taylor? Because like again, I'm a Gemini. My Sagittariuses are my favorite. If you are into astrology, you'll know like it's like sister signs. So hence why I also think like Jessica and I are like soulmates in the bit.
Mhm.
You know.
Yes.
So, anyways.
Yes. No, it is, maybe that's my biggest flex. Just saying. And I love that we both have big flexes for Taylor Swift. So, yeah, I'm here for it. Okay, really quickly before I dive into what's on my feed, I
Yeah.
actually just I had a lot of like notifications. And I am on Do Not Disturb, but I just saw my like number like ticking up and it it was kind of silly like that a client is even like sending me this many like slacks at the same time. But apparently Meta is down. And can I just say like unpopular opinion
Oh,
or
I love it.
whatever, like when Meta is down, I like do a happy dance. I'm like, okay, cool. I'm gonna go take a walk. I'm gonna get
Yep.
some fresh air. I'm gonna go read. Like I, I don't know what it is, but I
It's
just
okay. No, it's literally that trend where you and I should do that on like our next episode or whatever. But it's the we listen and we don't judge. That one right there is so relatable.
yes. Also, Q, I love my fellow like email marketers and my fellow marketers of other like channels, but cue the posts of this is why you don't own your audience.
Oh yeah, you don't. Yep, yep,
I love
yep.
you guys, I do, and I mean nothing but love with that statement, but I know those posts are coming. So again, I think it's so funny that we go into like hyperdrive with thinking this. We should, I know probably we'll do an episode or talk about it really like with the whole possibly maybe impending TikTok ban, who's going to buy it, what's going to happen. Anyway, don't want to delve too much into it on this episode, but I thought that was funny. That's now on my feed.
I
But
I've even had a few other social because somebody posted about Substack. Also, I kind of love that this is happening in real time for us. Obviously, I know that when it
mhm.
comes out,
Yeah, yeah,
it's
right.
not, but I think this is so relatable and will be relatable.
Mhm.
Um, but I've had a few social media managers being like, "Oh, TikTok's going to be going away," and I'm sorry, I don't know if I believe it. I just don't know.
Yeah, agreed. We'll see. We'll
We'll
see.
see.
Maybe we'll speculate as we get so
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, who knows what will happen. I've already seen our favorite IG gurus post about the TikTok ban. So, they'll leave it up to nothing. But okay, so on my feed,
Yes.
I've actually never heard of this brand. And I'm curious if you have, Maddie, but I think the brand is Pure Sport. I think they're an athleisure company, from everything I looked at. But they created, I think their CEO or founder or co-founder created a video talking about their like holiday, like Black Friday, whatnot, PR campaign for their influencers. So they sent out 500 empty PR boxes to their PR list of creators, athletes, influencers, and the boxes were empty, but inside on like the inside fold of
Mhm.
the box of the mailer, it talked about why it's empty and how influencing and gifting is a very like wasteful thing. It's a very like wasteful industry. So they encouraged, if the influencer wanted to participate, fill that box with any unused, unopened products that were given to them as PR, and that they would be donated. And I thought this was a really great campaign. I think a really good viral moment. Um, However, what I did not kind of like go back and backtrack on, and also what I would love to just kind of keep like a bird's eye view on, I want to know what have they done as like for their PR in the
Mm.
past. I would love to know, and I would love to know what are they going to do in the future, because I really think like if you're going to take this really big like ethical stance, I don't know, like stay in it. You know what
Yep,
I mean? Like
yep.
They definitely called out a lot of like brands, mainly like beauty brands, like food and bev, like health and wellness, who go like over the top with like the packaging and the display and everything. So I thought it was interesting. I think great cause, but um, great viral moment for sure. But I would just love to see kind of what this means like execution wise for them in the future.
Yeah, and I watched it before popping on here, and yeah, I hadn't seen it. I had never heard of the brand, but I
Yeah.
completely agree. I'm like, okay, put your money where your mouth is. Like, are you going to stay consistent with it? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So I definitely think it's very interesting. You know what's kind of funny is I again, maybe this is just kind of like my weird stance, but I actually didn't I kind of said at the start, I guesstimated that they're like an athleisure company because I just read their bio. I didn't
Yeah.
actually click over to their website. I didn't actually click over to see their products. I don't know what it is, but I'm like brand loyal. I think we've talked about this about like different like random things. I'm brand loyal about the weirdest things. And for me, like athleisure, I'm very brand loyal.
Wait, who are you brand loyal to?
So I'm brand loyal to either Lululemon or Viore. And I
Really?
yes.
Really? Okay.
So I love Lululemon for like their I don't know. I'm not like a clothing designer, so I don't know the technical terms, like their like
They're
structure.
no, they're techno again,
Yeah.
that's so funny you say that because with Adidas, like, I knowing that again, never had I, but
Yeah.
yeah, I know what you're talking about.
I love it for like I love them for that. I love Viore for their I more like I don't know. Sorry, I don't know the term. Like cozy wear. Like to me their
Okay.
stuff is so soft like and so I live in athleisure. Like that's like the number one thing I live in. I've like gone through tons of phases where like I've ordered like dupe brands off Amazon or like I'll order like Aloe Yoga or like I'll go to like Nordstrom or the Rack or like somewhere and just grab like any brand and 9 times out of 10 when I'm cleaning out my closet, the things that I don't wear are these like other brands that are like athleisure. And so I think for me like if I'm working out, I'm going Lululemon cuz I just need that structure. Like I don't know. I need to feel like put together, like hold it in. Like I don't know. Like I need the support, which I feel like it really is a
Mm.
technical term. Um, and so, and then with Viore, I just love the like comfort, like of the clothes. I feel like it's so like like that's what I'll travel in, or like if I'm like working from home, like I'll wear it. So it's just so funny. Like I don't know why I'm so loyal to those brands. Like I've tried like Fabletics and Aloe, and like I said, all those other things, but I just can't like not be loyal to them. It's
That
so wild.
I just Lulu, I agree. I'm brand loyal to them, but I also love Aloe.
Okay, yeah,
But
there's just some pieces that
V but Viore, like, I just recently have, like, discovered them.
okay,
Like,
yeah,
so they finally have a store in the mall, like, back home in Indy that's kind of how I
yeah,
came like, their ads clearly were not reaching watch now, they're gonna be popping up and popping up, but okay.
yeah,
But I get that because I'm brand loyal to Adidas to this day, and I
mhm,
know, like,
makes sense. Yeah.
I know that Nike does create this was the biggest thing when I was working for Adidas. Like each of these brands win in certain fields or not fields, but like branches or like in the shoe, in the technology. So like if it's like sweat proof, not that sounded so like obviously all of them like it's meant to be sweating, right? But sometimes where it like reflects off of you. I'm not doing this justice, but you all understand what I'm trying to say. So, but I get it. Brand loyalty. Now I want to know what you guys are brand loyal to. I'll put a poll in our stories, but
Yeah. 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 So that's my hot take. Lululemon Viore, if you want to come down in price though, let me know. Even more brand loyal. So yeah, that is the other thing on that. But on that note, should we dive into something that we've hinted about for several weeks here on the podcast. And if you follow us on Instagram at hashtag manage, you've already seen some of this content, but we want to dive and like really peel back the curtain on how we planned and executed a Friendsgiving and holiday themed content day.
Yeah. And I want to add too, because we know like planning a photo shoot is overwhelming. Like, I know that there was one point in the beginning of our Friendsgiving photo shoot where I just looked at Jessica and I was like, I'm so overwhelmed. But
Mhm.
and Jessica was like, why? And I was like, I don't know. And then it hit me where I was just like, I've never had this much help. Or like, normally it's just
Yeah.
me that I'm like, okay. So that's a game changer, having an entire
Mhm.
team who helps you put on this production of
Yeah.
a photo shoot.
And boy, is it a production. Like even in the moment, like in the moment of doing like a content day, like, and maybe it's because we do them like quarterly. I mean, I don't even think we really did them quarterly in 2024 with the year it was, but it's a lot of work to put it together. I always see like really quickly, like on Instagram, I always see like ads or videos or content for brands who do them like monthly for their clients. And I feel like kind of what we execute with our content days are more like creative, directed, like photo and video like content that we're kind of like executing, if that makes sense, versus like shooting social content. Now we do shoot social content and we'll dive like kind of into our process behind that, but I feel like it's a little bit different. And so I hope that I'm like explaining that right
Yeah.
in the capacity that I think we come in and do these. Um yeah, it's certainly not any simple task by any mean. I know we'll dive into like our process and everything, but I just want to say my number one like non-negotiable for a really successful content day is to have a separate content creator. Whether that's like
Mm,
someone on your team or you hire a photographer, videographer, someone who does both, it is so worth it. Like so worth it. Like it's one of the like best investments I think for any brand for brand content, but for content day for sure.
100%. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So we have 6 steps. Maybe there's more, but
Yeah.
I feel like 6 solid steps. Starting with a Pinterest mood board. This is personally my favorite part of this entire process.
Mm-hmm.
Without Jessica even like saying go make a mood board, like I like instantly I was like, okay, here's my vision, because a mood board's going to help you with a vision. Like we said, this was one of Social Savvy's first, I think, right? Like themed photo shoot where it was like
Yes. Yes. For
Friendsgiving and
sure.
Christmas, like we very seasonal. We know that,
Mm-hmm.
but to me, it's good to have these because yes, I think it'd be smart to do another holiday themed photo shoot next year, but like let's say for whatever reason like we're not able to, we can still pull from these archives and it will be timely in my opinion.
Yeah.
But the photo shoot, I knew the clients that we were going to be getting content for or wanted to include in the photo shoot. So I kind of started there. And again, we knew it was Friendsgiving, so gather around a table. So that's where I started. So when you're going with a themed photo shoot, that is number one where you start. And Pinterest is just, it is upping its game. I know we'll talk
Mm-hmm.
about Pinterest like in our prediction episode, but
Mm-hmm.
dang, like they've just really upped their game. And I think back to last week's episode of like, social media evolution or evolving. And gosh, 2010 Pinterest compared
Yeah.
to what it is now,
Oh yeah.
you could never. Like,
No, such a different caliber of a platform. Like, and
Yeah.
Pinterest has always been an incredible search engine. Like, that's how it runs. And I think now they've really like iterated it into just like I don't know. I know like um there's just so many like great features like if you're searching for something like gosh the amount of like random things I've like searched on Pinterest because I like wanted to create like a photo or video like for us or for a client like I've searched the most random things and then it just I don't know it curates into this like beautiful thing. I love just like scroll I know we both do like just scrolling Pinterest for like inspiration and I think that's where it can be like really really helpful. So I think even if you're like not going with like a themed shoot, like start with that Pinterest mood board for sure so you can have a vision for what your overall like content is going to look like. You know, because I even think back to the one that we did for the podcast in the start of the year when I went to Charleston for the first time
Mhm.
and like we had such a very clear vision for that shoot. It wasn't really themed, but it kind of was like in terms of like how we executed it. So yeah, start with that vision, use Pinterest to drive that vision and help like those creative ideas get them flowing. I like to also like you like when it gets closer and like we'll dive into it with like our planning process, but I like to pull in like everything I save in TikTok and Instagram too, like pull it into that Pinterest board. Like that's like the whole functionality of
Mhm.
Pinterest to be able to pin the content. So like pull it in so it's in one resource, which I think is really helpful. But I think also like the next step is also so important location. Location is
Mhm.
everything. Like it really like makes or breaks the content and I think we've even shot with like other photographers like kind of bopping around to a couple of different spots like we've shot with clients like we did a shoot 2023 like in New York and we just kind of went around to a couple of different sites
So jealous
really
of that
fun
one.
yeah really fun but Peerspace is a really awesome place to book spaces for like an hour or two if you wanted to keep it shorter if you want to do a half day a full day I recently really love I just think like the cost wise I think you get a little bit more bang for your buck like going the Airbnb route because I think one you get it for like a whole day like to check in and check out so you have plenty of time to set up and get ready so I love an Airbnb for that plus like some Airbnb hosts curate a beautiful rental so I like
Like
it for that too.
this, the one we did for this shoot, you guys, I'm not joking you. We could have hosted a full-blown dinner party at
Oh
this
yeah, like
Airbnb.
we
Any like
yeah.
and thank God
And we didn't even
because
really know that either until we got there.
no.
Like, holy moly, this has so much stuff in it.
Like, seriously, thank goodness it did though, because it was stuff we never would have thought that we needed. So, like, when I say like they had charcuterie boards,
Mhm.
they had I think there was like a cheese grater. Like, I'm
Yeah, there
telling
was
you,
a
like
big tool yeah.
anything you would need to like cook in their kitchen too, like
Mhm.
they had it.
Yeah.
They
Also,
had it.
such a good idea, like, if you I for the longest time, Ryan and I were, like, thinking, like, we would go, like, Airbnb route. We now go, like, the long-term rental route. But anyway, like, if you are a host or want to have, like, your own Airbnb, that's your theme. Theme it for dinner parties.
Yes.
Oh my goodness. You would be booked out, have all these things in it, like, partner up with
Oh.
bachelorette companies, like, you're gonna be booked out, and we just gave you $1 million idea for free. You're welcome.
And that hashtag manage.
Yes, yes. Step 3, like I said, I know I hinted, but book a photographer or videographer. The one we worked with for this Friendsgiving shoot does both and did both beautifully. She shot on 2 cameras, photo and video content. But also make sure too you're like shopping around for a photographer who fits the aesthetic because that is a really, really big thing. One like side note to that, like, so if you guys know, if you don't know, Ryan and I eloped in New York City. And so we have our shoot from that. And that was obviously like really special time. My all-time favorite photos. It's still like one of my like my circulating like backgrounds. Um we then a few weeks later we did a reception in Florida at a really beautiful like hotel. I don't like those photos at all. And it was one of those things where I look back on it and I'm like, how did I possibly choose a photographer that I don't love? Um, I don't know. It's I don't know. I got the final gallery and it was like everything was just too light and bright and very like southern wedding esque. And I'm like,
Mm,
we're in Florida. The hotel gives Spanish vibes. Like, I don't know. I want a little moodier. Like our New York photos are a little bit more moodier. I think that fits like New York City. Like we were in Brooklyn, so it fits that vibe. Yeah, I never share those photos. I didn't even print them out. I don't have them in my like album. So it's just one of those things like those deliverables, like those photos or videos, are so important. So shop around. There's so many creatives out there who can match your aesthetic. And I really want to say too, I think the photographer we use, Desiree Hayes, by the way, I just want to give
oh
a
my
shout
gosh,
out.
so good.
She is awesome. She's in like Central Florida, like Tampa, Orlando based. Um, if you go to like any of our photos we posted, we've like tagged her there if you want to find her specific handle. She brought such a great like creative eye to the project that again I feel like really just helps reiterate that as like a great investment.
And eased, I think, any anxiety, because I
Yeah.
think anytime you're doing a shoot, you know you have a set amount of hours and you're just trying to get it all at once. And
Hmm.
honestly, we got so much
Yeah.
because we had a game plan. She helped us kind of stay on that game plan. Something, and whenever you're planning a photo shoot, like some things may not go accordingly,
Hmm.
but you go with the flow and pivot,
Hmm.
and
Yeah.
it worked.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay, step 4, which is create a spreadsheet with your breakdown of the shots and reels that you want to get. And
Hmm.
I will say full transparency, like this is one of the steps, and I've told Jessica this too, where it's like I feel like we're so close to cracking the code of like how to perfect this spreadsheet. I don't think it's there yet, but like trust me, when it is, we will be selling it because we understand, like we're working on this like in real time, trying to figure out, okay, just how it can go smoother,
Yeah.
and how you really do make sure you get all the content, because there's so many things going on at once. You have some of your team maybe in the shots where it's like the people behind the scenes, like they could be working on reels and
Hmm.
just, and I know that for this spreadsheet, we had so many ideas.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if we really did get all of the real ideas, but we're definitely keeping it in our back pocket.
Yeah.
But
Absolutely.
it but and so maybe we didn't get all of those, but then we got some that were on the list too. Like, I think of Brianna, like the U, like creeping through the window.
Yeah, if you know, you know. If you know that series on Netflix. But again, that was just a funny thing as we were like prepping for the photo shoot that one of our team members did, and we were dying laughing. So we're like, okay, perfect. Or when we were when Harmony was moving the Christmas tree, and we were like, that's kind of giving Grinch. You stole
Yeah.
Christmas. Just leaving room for creativity, I think, is always so important because you'll get some great content from that as well. And yeah, this spreadsheet really breaks down everything. So that way, when we're there, we can open it up on our computer, on our iPad, on our phone, like just kind of follow along, like with what we want to capture. It's a great shot list and just running list of, okay, let's create this. This is why we decided to create this. We didn't just throw a random link like in a notes app and we're like, okay, let's make the trend. So I think it's a real big time saver. And I think that really like plays off in a content day. So yeah, one of our like favorite resources that I think internally we use as a team. It also kind of plays into a little bit, which these all tie into each other, but step 5 is planning the outfits Now that is no simple task. And I think as like a team who loves like fashion and styling, like we are not stylists by any means, but I think we always do like because again, we revert back to that Pinterest mood board. Like we
Hmm.
can pull out the vibes. And I think Maddie, you suggested this, and I don't know why I never thought of this until now. It's such an obvious thing. But Maddie was like, I'm gonna rent from Newly. What do you guys think about these pieces? And I'm like, oh yeah, I'm gonna rent from Newly. Like I need some fun, flashy, like holiday themed like pieces that I don't have in my closet. And I just feel like that's such a great idea to get things that are like on brand or match the theme, while still being like super sustainable by renting.
Especially if you work remotely too, where like I think we both said that we're going to keep our Newly subscriptions
Mhm.
into the new year, and because a lot of the pieces, obviously, a lot of the pieces that we both ordered were flashy, like very holiday
Mhm.
themed, but again, pants and some sweaters that I was wearing
Mhm.
not at the photo shoot where I was like,
Mhm.
oh, this is
Yeah.
cute. And they have like brands where I kid you not, every single thing that I got from that Newly was like from Anthropology. And I'm
Mhm.
like,
Yeah.
can't afford it, but
Right.
we can pretend.
Yes. Yeah. It's like, I'm gonna wear this for 3 to 4 weeks, however long I have the Newly. So yeah, it's a great way too to like really like include more fun things or try things like try before you buy because you can also buy from Newly too, which is really fun. I feel like I always like any like bottoms, like pants or shorts, like those are probably the main things, if not the only things I've purchased from Newly because it's just, I don't know, it's hard to like shop online for those things or I want to try a style and I don't know. So I think that's really a really fun thing. So planning outfits, really fun. We've never done a shoot where we've worked with a stylist, but I do think like to that will come in 2025. Like we will collaborate with a stylist to create some fun content and just to get styled. And I think as we are 30 and creep into our 30s, like yeah, we need some professional styling. I need to like adultify my wardrobe. And 30 is the time more than ever to do.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Okay, and then the last step, which is buying all the props. I
Yeah.
feel like you need because you did majority of the work on this.
So,
I
so
just gave the ideas. I was like, "Oh, we need this. I want this. Can we have
yes.
this?"
Yes. Again, revert back to that Pinterest mood board and see what props are in all of these photos because that's where we pull, right? We're like, okay, we need a pink tree because it's on brand. And then we're like, okay, what ornaments do we get? So obviously very themed, so really easy to kind of play off of like the things that we needed to buy. But I also think sometimes too, like really think about what's going to be in the backdrop, what's going to be on a flat lay for like um, close up shots, detailed shots, anything that's like on brand, really subtle. I think one of like two favorite things that we use and incorporate like for our branding and shoots like business cards and stickers. I have no other use for these business cards other than like bringing them around. Like when we do more like businessy kind of curated shots around us working, like it's just a fun way to show your brand. Um, I like the props. This is just probably personal preference. I like when the props are on brand. I don't think I need to be on brand. We've certainly done a shoot where like we were like full blown blazers of team colors. Now I do like those photos. I think like the photographer really captured a great essence there. But I don't know. I just prefer like we have such very wild colors as a brand. I would love for them to be represented like elsewhere. So I like to think outside of the box. Like Amazon's a great place, but I also like to go to like a Ross, a Marshalls, a TJ Maxx, like a Home Goods. Like I'll also like really check out their like their clearance, but even their product like regular products are great deals. And yeah, I think it's a really great thing. Over the years, I've really accumulated a lot of props. So I don't know, I need a studio or I need something like to put all these props. I have so many things. And I think, I don't know, I don't actually think we used it for this shoot. I think I brought it, but I don't think we actually used it. But a clapboard, like a director's like
No, no,
clapboard.
no, we did.
Oh, you okay? Okay.
Yep, we did. Yep.
So that thing, oh my gosh, literally like probably $6 on Amazon, like bought years ago. Best prop we have. It's been
No,
a
yeah,
it's
we
just
had
so
fun
fun.
with that. We had fun with that.
Yeah, yeah. See, any no prop gets left behind. So I think that's such a fun like last little touch up the photos, add in some backgrounds, especially if you're going to a rented space. You got to make it feel a little homey, a little bit more on brand. And it's fun. I think we've gotten creative with props in the past. So we seem to like order more and more fun, creative props like as we get deeper like into it. We're like, ooh, do we need like hot pink playing cards? Yeah,
Yeah.
like yeah. So yeah, really have fun with the props piece of it too.
Okay, and then we will end on this note too. So once you've gotten your images and video, if you've hired a videographer back from the photo shoot, there's gonna be a moment where you're like, oh my gosh, how do I organize all of this?
Mhm.
Have no fear. That's also why we're speaking to you today. And oh, I think we forgot to mention this at the beginning of this episode. If you are still here, I would save this episode. I would save this episode because I know that a lot of you probably aren't in photo shoot mode. Again, it's the
Mhm.
last month of the year. Like you're not thinking about a photo shoot right now.
Mhm.
But you will be here soon. And I think with Valentine's Day, maybe that's probably the next themed photo shoot you'd want to plan, maybe. Or maybe, yeah, you're going to do New Year's Eve, New Year's Day
Mhm.
one. I don't know. But save this episode. And back to what I was saying, when you get all your images and videos back, right now where it's organized in the Google Drive, and how I have set it up in our Google Drive is, so the photo shoot too, I think I need to be transparent, where the photo shoot was for the Savvy Edit, Social Savvy,
Mhm.
and then hashtag managed. And obviously, we sprinkled in some client content in there as well.
Mhm.
But mainly, I divided it up into those three categories: the Savvy Edit, Social Savvy, and hashtag managed. Then within those folders, I so I feel like the easiest way to explain it is with Social Savvy. So I put our
Mhm.
clients in there, so like
Mhm.
we had team content, but then we had two other clients in there.
Mhm.
Then within those folders, I divided it up into video and images. And then within that, within the images folder, I divided it up between the images we as a team took. So kind of more raw
Mhm.
images that we can use for reels, for
Yeah.
um, carousels and whatever.
Yeah.
And then I had our professional pictures. And Jessica hasn't it like to me, I'm like, I'm a psychopath. Clearly my OCD is coming out. But within that too, where I would, if the scenario, I don't know if that's the right word. If How do I want to say this? If the opportunity, I'm like, because I divided up the images even more into like the Friendsgiving, where it's like you have the tablescape and then you have the Christmas morning, just
Mhm.
making it
Different scenes.
yes, yes, thank you. Where it's just easier for you when you're going to create that content, it's easier to find.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, which is an added step like like administratively like in between like content day and using the content, but honestly, there is nothing worse than opening up a folder on your phone on Google Drive and you're like there's 150 pieces
Yeah.
like for example like in this folder. what do I do? And so I think that's such a really like a really good way. I would also add too, I don't think for like this instance like we need it cuz so like for example, I think if we were like if we like maybe we did a content day for a client and we shot like all of their products or like all of their products in a lot of scenes, I would maybe add another step and just organize it based off, okay, we use this for content. We use this for content. Like
Mm-hmm.
you could certainly like go deeper and deeper, but I think that like organization at the start is going to help you in the creative process. And I think it's such a necessary step because there's so many things that need to happen to be able to use all the content that you spent all the time to like whether how much time you spent on the shoot or honestly all the time that you pour into planning it. Like it really goes the long way. So, yeah, I think that that is such a important closing step to planning a content day. Organize your content or you're going to go mad.
Yeah. Yes. And on that note, that concludes today's episode. We hope you enjoyed it. Save it, share it, and we will catch you next week on the airwaves.
Thanks so much for listening to this episode. If you made it this far, I think we've officially become internet besties. You can always call into the hashtag hotline and say hello, leave a review, or ask your burning questions.
Make sure you follow, rate, and review the podcast wherever you're listening from. Subscribe to the Social Club newsletter for our weekly email and shoot us a DM over at hashtag managed on Instagram, letting us know what your biggest takeaway was from this episode.